everyone, my name is Muhammad Irfan Ehsan Berosli. I'm from Mechanical Engineering and from University Malaysia Pahang. Today I want to present about introduction to milling. Okay, objective in this topic is there are 6 objectives. Firstly, various type of milling machines and layout. Secondly, milling tools. Thirdly, operation factors like speed and feed and others. Fourthly, milling methods. Fifth, planning and setup procedure. And lastly, practices. Okay, milling process. Milling process is a multi-point cutting process like a machining tool that has 2 or more cutting edges, and then chips are cut off by the rotating cutter, and then workpiece is fed, which are moved in a linear motion. Horizontal milling machine. Okay, firstly, spinner rotates parallel to the table. Secondly, machine table move along the 3 axes, which are X, Y, and Z, and then cutter being used, which are slab milling cutter, which is slab milling produce flat surface, and then side and surface cutter, and then slitting saw. Okay, there are 3 cutters for horizontal milling, which are slab milling cutter, side face cutter, and then slitting saw. Okay, vertical milling machine. Vertical milling machine, the spindle rotates perpendicular to the table, and then milling head can be adjusted in a different angle, and then cutter being used in a vertical milling machine. There are 2 types, which are end mill, face milling cutter. And these are the pictures of cutters for vertical milling machine. This is end mill and this is a face milling cutter. Okay, this is a milling method. Firstly, plane milling. Cutter axis parallel to the machine surface, and then peripheral cutting edges, which mean the outside boundary of surface, and then horizontal milling normally. And this is also a milling method, which end milling. End milling means that the cutter axis perpendicular to the machine surface and the peripheral and end cutting edges, and then a vertical milling normally. And this is the picture of end milling. Okay, I want to talk about surface finishing. Firstly, end milling leaves cylindrical marks on the surface. This is the picture. And then plane milling leaves parallel marks on surface, and this is left by plane milling. And then roughness of milling is directly proportional to the feed rate and depth of cut. Okay, and then I want to talk about tool life. Okay, tool life. Milling cutter is a multi-point cutting tool, which are ground by special grinding machine, and then precision cutting angles. And then cutter reshape is very time consumable, and then tool life can be increased by there are 3 ways, which are correct spindle speed and feed rate, apply cutting fluid, and correct cutting method. Okay, I want to talk about tool material. Okay, the material are used which are high speed steel. High speed steel mean an alloy of iron, chromium, nickel, cobalt, and some molybdenum. And then high resistant to wear, loose hardness at 600 Celsius. And then another tool material which are carbide. Carbide widely applied in a modern industry, and then suitable for very higher cutting speed, hard material, and high accuracy, and also smooth surface. And then the other material which are ceramic and diamond cutting tool. And then I want to talk about cutting speed. Cutting speed of milling is defined by the movement of each cutting edge per minute, meter over minute. Okay, these are the type of tool material. The mild steel, aluminum, the hardened steel, and this is a high speed steel. This is cutting speed, and this is a feed. And tool material which are high speed steel and the carbide. This is cutting speed and feed. Okay, here you can see the mild steel, aluminum, and hardened steel.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Anis Maisara binti Azmi, and my mention number is MH18018. Today I would like to explain about milling process that my group had completed task almost 10 weeks. During the milling machine, we use many types of cutting tools. Okay, firstly, we use slab mill. Okay, as you can see in my laptop, the picture shows the slab mill that we use during lab. This slab mill is for heavy cutting of flat surface. Okay, next is side and face cutter. As you can see, right, this picture show the side cutter that we use during milling machine. This type of cutter has cutting edge on the side of the teeth for cutting shoulders and slot. Okay, the third one is end mill. Okay, this as one of the example of end mill that we use. The end mill commonly used for facing, slotting, and profile milling. Okay, another one is slot drills. Slot drills is for producing pocket without drilling a hole beforehand. Okay, this is the picture that show slot drills. Okay, last one is face milling. Face milling is the cutters for heavy cutting. Okay, so this this picture show the face milling cutters.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Hanifikir bin Hasbullah with ID number MH18016. Okay, there are two methods of milling. Firstly, the plain milling, and second, the end milling. Okay, for the plain milling, or usually we call horizontal milling, the cutting tool will be laid down horizontally, in which the cutter axis is parallel to the surface of the workpiece. For the end milling, or usually we call vertical milling, the cutter is in vertical position, which is the cutter axis is perpendicular to the machine surface. For the surface finishing, the end milling leaves cylindrical marks on the surface of the workpiece, but for the plain milling, it leaves parallel marks on the surface of the workpiece. So by looking at the surface of the workpiece, we can know the surface is milling with end milling method or plain milling method. That's all for me. Thank you.
I want to explain the planning and setup procedure for milling. Firstly, we must study the drawing and make the planning. Then prepare the material, such as machine and rectangular block to the dimension as shown in the drawing. Next, we have to marking out the line on the surface of the block by using vernier height gauge. And then milling the upper slot. Mile the slot using by its size. And milling the lower slot, also its size in drawing. And then we have to drilling and tapping. Mark out the position of the thread hole. Drill the hole with the size that given. Next, chamfering. Support with a V or block in machine wise. Mill the chamfer as shown in drawing. So that's all for the planning and the setup procedure. Thank you.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. Saya Nik Burhan. So I want to present about our exercise wise. First, we should prepare the material, machine the rectangular block to the dimension like 55 length, 30 height, and 30 width, all in millimeter. And then making out Mark all the outline on the surface of the block by using a vernier height gauge. For the milling the lower slot, made the lower slot width 30 and depth 55 using 12 millimeter diameter and mill. Drilling the tapping, mark out the position of the thread hole. Bring the hole 5.2 millimeter diameter. Tap M6 times 1 thread hole. For the chambering, support with a V block in machine vise.